Welcome to the Trade Lounge. I'd love to share with you the trades I made today on my journey to 100K, where I try to take this small account to $100,000 as a rookie day trader, and I am a rookie. I made a rookie mistake today, but I'd like to think you'll notice by the time of this video, which is before 9:30 a.m. East Coast time, that I've made the right decision in shutting it down and kind of reflecting and writing this journal versus trying to continue to trade and make a mistake. Now, I'm not by any means at a max loss day, but there were some things that happened today that maybe you want to kind of shut things down a little bit early. And I think that what I've learned about the emotional side of trading and all the books I've been reading and the podcasts I've been listening to helped me be a little bit more in tune with kind of what I was feeling today. So let's get into what we kind of saw on the scanner today. As you can see on the screen there, I am a little red, but nothing crazy. I'll just get to that because it's up here. But I am red on AIHS, $38.30. And we'll talk about this entry here in a second. But this morning when I took a look at the scanners, we had some continuation moves, which we've seen. Unfortunately, a couple of the stocks were just priced a little too high for me. So we had WXM, which was up there. I forget, there was a few other ones like ELPW. There was a couple other ones that weren't really doing anything, but the main one was WXM, I do believe. And if you take a look at that stock, really, it ended up being a little bit too high of a price for me for what I'm trying to do right now. I'll remove these lines because they don't really matter too much. But as you open this up, when I can start trading is 7 o'clock, which is basically right in this zone right here. On this Charles Schwab account. By the way, I'm using Charles Schwab through Dash Trader. What you're seeing right here on that. I'll get back to it in just a second. But so with this stock, so here's 7 o'clock right in here, and it starts to come back and starts to come up this way and kind of do its thing. But I'm not great at this style of trading. I don't mind continuation. I'm trying to get a little bit better at it. But if it's continuation, I don't know. It wasn't breaking through VWAP. It bounced off VWAP right here, made its initial move, and then went up to 1150 or so, and then came right back down. And it really came back down hard. I was watching this, and I did think about making a trade on it, but the problem is I'm really trying to manage my risk and keep the stocks below $10. Now, by manage my risk, I want to be careful. There's a couple ways we can do this. Because I have a trading buddy of mine who uses a percentage of their account. So let's say if you have $10,000 in your account and you want to use 10% of that account, that's $1,000, right? And you're going in with $1,000 or a percentage of your account in every single trade. That is one way to manage risk. Meaning, if you take a 30-cent loss on $1,000, but you only bought 100 shares of it because it's a $10 stock. Well, that's really not too bad, So, but the way that I actually really love to trade with dollar amounts and percentages. I'm just not doing it right now because I'm trying to work through a few kinks. But I love to do a percentage of my account or all in on my account. That's how I want to trade this account, this small account, until it gets to a certain amount. I just need to prove a few things first. Like if I was to do this right now, I don't think I'd quite be as ready nor as ignorant as I was when I first started back in December when I doubled my money really quickly at the start with some beginner's luck. You can also just manage your risk by using the same share size every time, like 100 shares, and then just making sure you're getting out at your stop. So if 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, like you're willing to risk, between $15 and $30 or whatever it is, no matter what, that number kind of stays the same. However, if you're in this scenario, if I'm deciding to go on a higher price stock, my entry has to be pretty tight because the range of those higher price stocks are more. And I might get in and all of a sudden it drops down 80 cents. And I'm like, well, I just lost, $80 on that entry. That sucks. But if you would have went in with percentage of your account, you'd be in for less than you'd be in less than you normally are share wise than maybe like a $5 stock or something. And so you'd actually would lose a little bit less money. It's kind of interesting how it all works. There's a couple different ways to kind of go about it. Right now I'm just doing 100 share entries and managing my risk by placing mental stops at about 15 cents, 10 to 15 cents. And then I have a max loss of $30. So on 100 shares, I'm trying to go in maybe one trade, maybe up to 3 trades, kind of depending on what's going on. But I'd like to simulate going all in and all out. And if it breaks even, we might go all in and all out again. And then if we're at a max loss, we're done for the day. Or if we're green, done for the day. That's kind of where my mind's at right now. Anyway, the stock was just too high. It was over $10, and some of these areas that I try to get in over some of these pivots, I tend to get a little smoked. So if you get caught up trying to go for the high day here, you just got smoked right there, and I don't know. There's something to be said about buying down here closer to these EMAs, and that does make a lot of sense. You have a double bottom on this VWAP, which is which would be a good play in any normal stock. But I just don't play these right now. But there's something I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Anyway, I just didn't see anything. The price was too high, and then it came up into this right here. I'm just going to mark this real quick. I believe shorts got trapped in this kind of in this zone here, and we've got a little squeeze from 11.55 up to 13.91. But again, and I was watching this. It was just a little too high for me. So that was one that was on my radar. And then let's get to the one Plag, actually. Is it still up? Here it is. Another one that kind of piqued my interest because of what happened yesterday. So this is a penny stock that started climbing. It got over $1 and then just kind of started to hold over $1. And so I was kind of watching it, and I didn't make any moves on it. It was after by the way, these all happened after the first move I attempted to make today. So we'll get to that in a second. I just at this point, I'm thinking about I'm at my max loss for the day, and I need to see something really clean. And I'm kind of frustrated, but I should have started this video a different way. I should have started with the first trade of the day. But anyway, this was one I was looking at, and I just didn't see anything that I really, really was interested. The range wasn't big enough for me to really think about maybe making a trade here. But there was certainly, that doesn't mean it was the right decision. There were certainly opportunities here. I mean, I really like that play right there. In hindsight, it's pretty easy to see some of the stuff, but. And then this breaks high of day here and pops. And well, basically I was looking for kind of these little squeezes because we had that big squeeze yesterday on a penny stock. I was kind of looking for something similar to that, but the odds of that happening 2 days in a row are pretty slim. And I didn't see it, so I didn't buy, and that's fine. Let's go to the first trade of the day. And now these will all kind of start to line up for you guys. So on the scanner, by the way, the scanner is called Charts Watcher. Pretty good scanner. I have enjoyed it. If you're coming from Day Trade Dash or from the Warrior Trader program, this is a good one, good replacement. And so what was it? It was AIHS. So let's pull that up, and it had news, and here it is. So at 6:58, so 2 minutes before I can start trading on this platform you see over here on the right side of my screen. So I had just shut down Webull like a few minutes prior. I like to shut it down a few minutes before so I'm not mixing up my platforms. But because this alert started going off but right beforehand and the moves happened so fast, I pulled up Webull. I opened up Webull to make a trade on this stock, and I fumble it. I'll show you. There is a point at which, let's pull up the stock right here. This is where you'll see. So if the news pops right here, this is 6:58. I pull up Webull. I notice that I get Webull up and nothing has happened yet exactly in the time frame I want. Then I notice that it's now 7, right? And so I can trade on my other platform. So Webull's kind of loading up and getting it back to where it was. And then this move passes me by because I'm dinking around between the two platforms. And this is my perfect setup. This is the setup I've been waiting for. Sure, we have this little guy here, but I mean, on the first candle is not a huge deal. As long as you don't see this go red and pump down, we got a chance here. This opens up, moves up right at perfect setup, especially right at 7 a.m. when the volume comes in. Goes over 297, 280, we'll call it, and goes all the way up to, we'll call it, $4. That's a great move. What a great move. And what I did was, and you can see it more on the 10-second chart, even though I wasn't looking at the 10-second chart at the time, was naturally, because I'm fumbling and playing around with things, I chase it. And this is kind of where my frustration starts to kind of set in. Right here. And look, while I was chasing it, my entry I liked. That's what's kind of frustrating. Is I actually entered it in right here. It's going to be tough to see right now, but as this comes up and hits this high, it starts to come down, and then this candle right here is the first the first 10-second candle to make a new high after this high. So it comes up here, starts pulling back. This is the first green candle to make a new high right here. I enter in right here. I think my entry was like, I'll call it 360 something. I'm sorry, on this green candle right here. I will call it 360 something. I forget what it is. We get a little bit of a false breakout. I try to exit right away, but I accidentally, so I entered in right here in Dash Trader. I entered in at that's in my way, but we'll call it looks like 370. I noticed it wasn't working right away. I tried to exit, but I accidentally clicked my Webull screen. And so I was trying to exit on my Webull screen. I'm actually kind of lucky that it didn't. Well, I don't have enough money there for it to be a margin account, because I'm kind of lucky it didn't short it. I wasn't able to it didn't try to short it. But I don't know if it was easy to borrow Webull. I wasn't paying attention, but I tried to execute it there on accident. And then by the time I flip back, click on here, exit, I'm down basically 40 cents a share. I lose $38.30. Now, here's the issue. I'm like, okay, we fumbled it. And there's something to be said about having two brokers up. Throw the darts. You hit me with the darts. Like, I understand that. The reality is, with Webull, if I'm going to continue to use it, I just need to make sure that it's shut down, 5 or 10 minutes prior, and it doesn't come back up. It's not a hard thing to manage. Just in that moment, I wasn't thinking about it. So I'm like, I fumbled this entry. That's fine. Like, there's going to be more plays today. Let's stay focused and get it done. The only issue is that because of that move that I made, at 38.30, I'm at my max loss. I decided couple weeks ago that at a 100 share entry, I only wanted my max loss to be $30. Whether I go in 3 times and lose 10 cents a share, or 1 time and lose 30 cents a share, I just didn't want to lose more than 30 cents a share on $100, and that seems reasonable to me. My risk, I want to be 5 to 10 cents, maybe 15 cents, depending on the stock price, for 2x that reward on the way up. And so I hit this, and what ends up happening here is you can't trade on Dash Trader. When I set this as a physical barrier in Dash Trader, to where if I go over $30 and I try to re-enter, I can't re-enter. So I got an alert that said, hey, by the way, you've hit your max loss and you're done for the day. Now, if I want to go make a trade, and I did want to make a trade, if I want to go make a trade, I have to actually go in and remove that setting to be able to make that trade. And so all morning I'm flirting around with removing that setting. I'm frustrated to hit my max loss on a fumble. Like, if this would have been $10, if this max loss on that mistake would have been $10 or $15, then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Like, I could just make another trade. We're not at the max loss stage yet, right? But that mistake, that fumble, put me at my max loss. I should walk. I did not walk, but I just watched. I'm like, maybe there's something else I can do. Maybe there's something else I can trade. But I would have had to untick that box. I didn't untick the box. So even if I would have wanted to make a trade, I would have had to untick the box, right? Or load up Webull, or trade in the sim. But even trading in the sim with my mindset I was at today, I don't think it would have been a good state of mind. So the next stock that popped up that interested me was FRTT. And this made the exact same move. And this is where I started noticing that I was getting a little frustrated. So this thing comes up, pulls back right here, and then you get this candle opens, goes up here, and then you get the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, which is right here at like 160. You get in at 160 or whenever you want, and it shoots all the way up to 335. So I actually I actually looked away. So here I was looking at this, and then I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work. I looked away, I come back, and this thing had popped up. I got the alert that it was moving. I popped over, and I'm like, it's a good lesson learned. Like, you really want to, and I'll show you on this next stock. You really want to make sure it's really easy to get dispersed attention as things are flying around. But really, what I need to be doing here is making sure that if the volume criteria and everything fits, let's make sure you've watched it long enough to see it actually fail before I look away. So an example of that would be GMEX. So in GMEX, I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at GMEX. I've traded it before. I think I'm overall net profit on this, positive on this, green, and it just shoots up. Not with a Actually, that's pretty good volume, actually. Shoots up right here, pulls back. Maybe we'll get that little green candle that, forms, right here, basically. I don't know. And then you get the next thing make a new high, and bam, you're in. You're in like Flynn. We see the same setup, 3 of the same setup in a day. That's pretty rare for these days. And no, it just comes down, rejects, and comes right back down. So one of the things I noticed here was that I was staring at the stock, looking at like maybe potentially trading it. Now I can't trade it without undoing that restriction from my account, which I thought about doing. So in this moment, I sent this message on the Discord, one of the Discords I'm in. It says, starting to feel let's just dissect this. Starting to feel frustrated that I fumbled the first move and now have essentially missed 2 of my favorite setups in AIHS and FRTT. Those 2 stocks they literally had the exact setup that I am looking for on a daily basis that I really haven't seen much of success at since the small cap market kind of cooled off a little bit. And usually these things go up a couple candles and just dump right away. So these were, in my mind, 2 of my favorite setups, and I just missed them entirely. So I'm going to shut it down for the day, as much as it pains me to say it. Essentially, I'm respecting my max loss of $30, even though it came from a fumble. In the situation, I feel like I could easily justify taking another trade, but missing a couple of my favorite setups after that has me feeling just frustrated enough that I know I need to walk away. If I don't walk away now and end up making a bad trade because of that frustration, I'm going to feel a lot worse. I'm only down $38, but that's not the point. I had this typed out 15 minutes before I sent it as well. That's saying something. So I typed this out. I let it sit there for 15 minutes. I let my wife came home from the gym. She came up here, and I said, I want you to read this. And then we had a conversation, and I shut it down. So, the old me would have I probably wouldn't have a max stop loss set, first of all, in the software. And if I did, I probably would have undone it and tried to make a couple more trades and not recognize that I was a little bit frustrated. What I have learned is, now I'm fine. Like, again, I'm not happy that I lost basically 40 cents a share here. For me, that's just that's not good. Okay. But it's not a huge deal. We're working through it. But over the last couple of basically month and a half, I have been doing a lot of reading and listening to a lot of podcasts and really diving into the emotional side of trading. And what I found was that the reason why I hold on to stocks too long when I should get out, and the reason why I overtrade, I thought originally might be based on fear. It's not fear. It ends up being that there's a little bit of frustration that happens, and then that little frustration kind of turns into like minor grades of like tilt. And I trade with frustration as from frustration and from a little bit of tilt. So when I felt that frustration and when I went to type that out on my Discord to kind of get that out, then I'm like, if I'm typing this out, this is what I feel. And if I didn't have this max loss probably on the account, I probably would have made more trades today. I don't know. I don't actually know, but I am happy that I recognize the feeling of being frustrated, and that if I make another trade here and I go a little more negative, I've just disrespected my stop loss, and I went negative again, and I traded after I thought I should walk away, and I traded after I felt a little bit of frustration. And that first trade I would have made, if I would have went red on that trade, I would have probably went into kind of more of a tilt mode. If I would have went green on the trade, it would have rewarded me for turning off my max stop and trading something that I'm not trading when I'm not supposed to be doing it based on the rules I've set for myself. So my hope is that, I'll go for a walk today, come back and be like, okay, that was a good idea. So here's the data for the challenge so far. We're not doing that great, but I'm learning a lot, and I haven't blown up the account. So that's saying something. This is August. And in August, we were green last week, 64. Today, we're down $38. And so we're net positive on the month so far. Win rate 40%. That's not great, but, haven't taken a lot of trades. I'd like for that to be a little bit higher. When I'm in my flow state, it's usually right around like 65%, 60%, 65, 70%. And so we're just not quite back to that flow state yet. And then on the account as a whole, it's up $170. This is, for anyone new here, like you're looking at this, like this guy's been at this since I started this back in December, and then I've been up every single morning basically since October, every trading day since October, and I've only made $170. But I've learned a lot, and I think everything I'm learning now and everything I'm going through is going to help propel me, when the time comes. At least that's my hope. So we're going to keep grinding, keep going, and see what this looks like by the end of the year. But I'm hoping, there was one point in time this was up to 2K. So the account was almost at 6,200. I forget exactly what the number is, but and then in July I took a really big loss, holding onto a stock too long, and then got in some tilt and made a bad trade, and so this basically like 1,200 of this that was here was because of one day, unfortunately. So you can see why I got off today. That's kind of why I did it. Anyway, I hope you guys were green today, and I will be back tomorrow morning trying to get after it again. And, there might be a chance, with my attention being a little bit dispersed today, I'm probably going to not load up Webull tomorrow, and then just to make sure I'm dialed. And then I'm also probably going to close down Discord. While Discord wasn't really distracting me today, it can be just another thing where things are kind of coming my way and I might take a glance over. And so I'll probably next couple days, or at least tomorrow, I'll probably, shut a couple of those things down and see if I can stay really focused. And then get into Discord and provide that value there, or connect with people when the time is right. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow.